My name is Rachel McDonough, and this is my friend. Hi, I'm Savannah, and we're here at the beautiful Madison Square Garden for the big fight, and you are watching True School Sports.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, quick video I wanted to do because I gotta get out of here soon. It's Anthony Joshua Klitschko fight week, and tomorrow is the big fight. So obviously, we're all very excited about that in the boxing world. But you know, in other news in the heavyweight division, this literally just happened. I woke up. It's Friday. It's rather late in the afternoon, but I just woke up, and I just saw this on IFL TV. So shout out to Kugan Cassius and what he's doing out there. But Deontay Wilder, he's there for the Klitschko Joshua fight, because obviously, you know, he's probably looking at maybe the winner of this fight, and he's probably hoping it's Joshua, because that'd be a mega fight for him. But you know, the context of the video I saw was Kugan Cassius was doing an interview with Tony Bellew, and he was just talking to him randomly, and all of a sudden at the corner of the arena, because the arena was empty, so at the corner of the arena, you hear Deontay Wilder just shout out. He's like, "Bomb Squad!" like him and other people, and Tony then looks across the arena to where you can't see Deontay Wilder in the picture, and he says, "You know, I don't need no squad. I'll come by myself," or whatever like that. And then what proceeded to happen was they had a confrontation, not a physical confrontation, but like a verbal confrontation. And you had Wilder dressed up like Inspector Gadget with the beige coat on, and then some black glasses, and you know, looked like he had crochet braids on or something like that. And he I don't know, you know how Wilder gets when Wilder, you know, he starts feeling gas on himself. He's like, "Oh, you know, I knocked this dude out, I knocked that dude out." And Tony Bellew looked at him simply and was like, "You know, I've only had one fight at heavyweight, and my heavyweight resume is already better than yours." And there is it's sad, but there's a little truth to that. You know, David Haye is a better name on your heavyweight resume than anything Wilder probably has. So they went back and forth, and Deontay Wilder's brother, who we have heard about before, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute, but Deontay Wilder's brother, as the little heated exchange was winding down, he was like, "You can't even beat me, what?" And he kept going on for about like 30 seconds or so, and Tony Bellew and Clifton Mitchell, shout out to Clifton Mitchell, he was in the background, former heavyweight, I believe he's heavyweight. Clifton Mitchell was in the background saying that he'll beat all of his entourage down. So it was definitely an interesting video. If that was Deontay, if that was the brother that, you know, was going off on Dominic Breazeale that led to the altercation when Breazeale and Wilder had the alleged altercation, they said it was over his brother. So if that was the brother that they were talking about, I could kind of see why. Dude was agitating me. So I don't know, man. You know, this is a fight where it's funny because a lot of people will write off Bellew, and I'd favor Wilder over Bellew just because he is a bit better puncher. But I don't know. You gotta look at the matchup. You know, a lot of people did that with Haye, and Haye is a much more talented boxer than Deontay Wilder. I think Bellew's got a point when he says that. Wilder, on the other hand, you know, he's not Anthony Joshua, nor is he Klitschko, nor is he Joseph Parker in terms of how his muscle mass and how he's built. He's really thin. He's really skinny. We've seen in the past, like, you know, like Eric Molina, who's not known as a big puncher, cracked him, and he damn near went to the canvas. So, with that all being taken into account, Bellew, for whatever reasons, just doesn't get enough credit for his boxing IQ. He does. He's a very smart fighter. He's got deceptively quick feet. He showed it in the Haye fight. He showed it in a number of his fights if you've actually studied him. Really, the only man that's been able to crack Bellew and hurt him was Adonis Stevenson. And Adonis Stevenson, that Bellew he fought was, you know, if you look at him, he's a freaking skeleton walking around. So, I think this is a fight, believe it or not, Bellew could win. I'm gonna tell you why. I think Bellew could be Wilder because obviously I mentioned the feet. He's got very, very deceptively quick feet. Even though he's really fat, you think he'd be slower, but he has deceptively quick feet. He has understanding of distance. He knows where to be and where not to be in the ring. Has good amateur pedigree, believe it or not. Was a AIBA champion at heavyweight multiple times as an amateur coming up. And the one thing he has that pretty much very few fighters in boxing have is that willingness to die in the ring. The same way you saw like maybe like an Evander Holyfield. Remember, if you guys remember Evander Holyfield, I'm not saying he's to the level of Holyfield, but I'm saying he has some of that in him. Like, you know, Holyfield had that willingness to, you know, I'll walk through fire to get this W. Bellew, in some respect, is kind of the same way, which is why I like him, probably. Which is why I'm a fan of his. So I would favor Wilder. He's the bigger man. He's the more powerful man. But I wouldn't count on Bellew. I would never count on Bellew because that dude, like I said, will die to get a W. And you know, if we're talking heavyweight championship of the world and a win that could be a legacy fight, he'll go to the ends of the earth to get it. So I'd love to see it, man. Wilder's never really, honestly, if he fought Bellew at heavyweight, that'd be his best win. to be quite honest with you, Stavern, you know, no disrespect to him, I like Stavern, met him, cool guy, but let's be honest with ourselves. The best win Stavern had on his resume was Chris Arreola, and nobody really looked at Chris Arreola like that. Like that highly. So I think Bellew would probably be the best win Wilder had on his resume. And you know, it could break him in if he's able to get the W. It breaks him into the UK market, gets him more exposure, increases his visibility, because Bellew's a big ass name over there. He sold out a damn soccer stadium. Well, he didn't sell out, but he had 40,000 people, which is damn near a sellout at Goodison Park. So with that being taken into account, let's make it happen, man. You know, Bellew is one of those guys who's crazy enough to do stuff like this, and you know, all credit to him. I think he genuinely believes he can beat Wilder, and he's broken it down why. And I actually think his logic is on point. From his vantage point, obviously, people are going to say Wilder is this tall and he's got this many knockouts, but let's look at some of the knockouts he's had. If you look at like his last fight against Gerald Washington, you know, that was a fight I wanted to see him take because it was a short notice opponent, it was a good opponent, and it was a good fight. Washington, being slightly taller than Wilder, was as slow as he was, showing Wilder good boxing ability and just frustrating him with the jab. He's very slow, very there to hit. And Washington was winning that fight, or he at least was even. And Wilder got what we could deem a PBC stoppage. That's you know, the kind of stoppage where he's not on his back, he's not really being hurt that much, but the referee jumped in and stopped it early. So there was that fight. There was the albatross known as the Malik Scott fight, where Malik Scott took a dive. There was a lot of fights where, you know, you look at Wilder's knockouts and they weren't really that devastating. But then there are knockouts where you look at them and you say, damn, that was devastating. And that one, you know, that one would be like the Archer Spilka knockout. But you know, one thing I felt like Bellew would have going for him in that fight, if he did fight Wilder, would be the fact that Wilder, as you know, long and like, he could actually use Wilder's range against him. It's very possible because Wilder doesn't have the best. He's not the best as far as his technique goes. He's not the best puncher in the world. So you can get in there, you could smother him, and you could really frustrate him, and you could tire him and drown him in those late rounds. It's very possible. He doesn't have the sturdiest of legs. We know that his hand has been broken multiple times. I believe multiple times, but it's been broken before. So we know that the way he punches and how he wins his shots, that it's possible he could break his hand again. So, you know, take the fight. I think this is a fight where Bellew could win. Honestly, stylistically, it makes a lot of sense for him to take it. I think it'd be a much better fight for him. Honestly, to be honest with you, I think it's a better fight for him than definitely he's not gonna fight Joshua. That's crazy. He's not gonna fight Fury. That'd be, even with Fury in his condition now, Fury could just jab him out on the ring. No, that'd be a bad fight. Parker, I even think, would be somewhat of a bad fight because Parker is, you know, unlike Wilder, Parker's a little younger, built like a tank, can punch hard in both hands. I think even that'd be a freaking harder fight for him. Even though Andy Reid's had success, but people, you know, just don't really know about Andy Reid, so that's why they just downgrade Joseph Parker. But Wilder, to me, honestly, makes the most sense for Bellew, and if he can get that W on his resume, becomes WBC heavyweight champion, beats this giant that most people will probably most people would bet against him in that fight. You know, why not? Why not? And if you can get the W, go out on top, be a heavyweight champion, be Deontay Wilder. His last three, like, for example, if he beats Wilder, let's say they fight, he wins somehow. His last 3 wins are Makabu, who was like one of the most dangerous cruiserweights at the time he fought him. He's not wrong when he says that. He really was, because I believe Makabu was the only person besides Roy Jones Jr. to stop Glenn Johnson. Glenn Johnson's had like 80, 90 fights. The only person that stopped Glenn Johnson in those 80 or 90 fights where he's fought a who's who of boxing are Roy Jones Jr. and Makabu. So Makabu was a dangerous fighter and a southpaw with punching power at that. So there was that fight. There was a Hay fight that nobody ever gave him a chance in hell for. You know, won that fight. No matter what you want to say, he won it. and then the Wilder fight. He can retire like that. It's perfect ending to a career where you can definitely say that guy took every part of his talent and he maximized it. So, you know, shout out to Tony Bellew. Shout out to Deontay Wilder going over there to the UK. Hopefully he enjoys the fights. Hope Bellew enjoys the fights. Hope we get a good fight tomorrow. And this is a fight that I'd like to see at some point. I know it's a fight Wilder would take in a heartbeat because he deems that as an easy fight for him. I think he'd be in for a very rude awakening, and you know, Bellew have him frustrated for a couple rounds, but then maybe he catches him with a good shot. We don't know. To me, it's an interesting fight. I like to see it. Make it happen. Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman. It's not that hard. Make it happen. Sign the contracts. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know most of you probably say Bellew gets knocked the hell out, but let me know in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.